start with the back of the alphabet. I feel terrible that you've had to wait this entire time. Ms. Barrett, I wanted to ask you about the elephant situation. You got a letter, which I have a copy of, from Last Chance for Animals saying that they would pay the entire cost of sending Billy and Tina, the elephants, to the sanctuary. So I wanted to ask you, because you had said yesterday that the one thing you could promise was that we're going to do what's in the best interest of Billy and Tina, the elephants. So, and I understand that it's your desire to send them to the Tulsa Zoo instead of the AZA accredited sanctuary. So I guess I want to just sort of broadly ask the question, because from a layperson's perspective, and I'm not an expert, and a lot of people I've heard from are not experts, it would seem that sending an elephant to a sanctuary where you have 3,000 acres to roam would be better than a zoo where you have 20 acres or less, from the benefit of that elephant. Could you explain why that's not the case?
While space might be one consideration of a factor that can contribute to an animal's well-being, it's not the only thing. It's the opportunity to be in a social environment, in a herd environment. It's the quality of the care and the individual needs of the animal. And all of that in combination, we feel they can achieve at the Tulsa Zoo.
And you think that what they get at the Tulsa Zoo is substantially better than what they would get at the AZA accredited sanctuary?
I think what they can get at the Tulsa Zoo is the ability to be in an environment where they can thrive.
Right, but is it better than the other one, the other environment?
It's not a matter is one better than the other. You could say a sanctuary can provide a great environment for a particular animal based on its needs the same way that a zoo can. It's not just either or. They can both provide an opportunity for an animal to thrive, and they do.
So they both would provide that opportunity?
I'm saying that the Tulsa Zoo will provide the opportunity for Billy and Tina together to thrive in the herd environment that the Tulsa Zoo can provide, along with the quality of the staff, the expertise that they have based on Billy and Tina's individual needs.
Okay. So I understand. But you're not saying that the other one could not. You're just saying that this one could.
I'm just saying in general that sanctuaries provide great opportunities for animals to thrive. But I am telling you that the Tulsa Zoo is the best place for Billy and Tina, in my opinion.
Okay. And when is the plan to move them?
There is no particular date.
No particular. So it's not imminent.
It's not imminent. We obviously have to plan because it takes a while to prepare elephants to move, but elephants move on their own time.
What do you mean?
Well, you don't just ask an elephant, would you please, get into this crate so I can drive you where you need to go. They have to be prepared to do that, and that takes time.
Right. Okay. So it's not a matter of days, it's a matter of weeks or months?
Again, I don't have anything specific. We don't have any date specifically on when the animals will be moving.
Okay. And have we signed a contract with the Tulsa Zoo to do this, or is that still... Has there been a contract signed to do this?
No, there has not been a contract signed.
Okay, and then in terms of the accreditation issues that you raised, just want to be clear, reporting the data to the council and showing us the comparison of the pros and cons like was asked for in the memo, does that have any impact on accreditation of being asked to report to this council?
I'm not sure I understand your question, Councilmember.
Well, in your memo, you said, one of the concerns was that you had a concern about the zoo losing its accreditation if you were to comport with the motion, which was to come forward to the council with the pros and cons and the cost of comparisons of the Tulsa Zoo versus the Tennessee Sanctuary. And to me, I didn't understand how that could have any impact on the accreditation the AZA accreditation by reporting, oversight to the city council, but I wanted to understand if I was missing something on that.
Yeah, you might have misunderstood because that's not what the report says. Reporting to any council body does not conflict with AZA accreditation. Not following recommendations provided by the AZA SSP is what can get in the way of our AZA accreditation.
Okay, and did the AZA, I don't know, ABC, whatever you said it was, did they mandate that the elephants have to go to the zoo, the Tulsa Zoo versus the Tennessee Sanctuary?
Their recommendation was that we send them to the Tulsa Zoo, the Species Survival Program for Asian elephants.
But were we to send them to a different place, the AZA accredited sanctuary, would that somehow create a problem with AZA accreditation if we, presumably, as long as we're sending them to an AZA accredited facility, it shouldn't have an impact on, well, none of this should have an impact on our zoo because this isn't even about the workings of the zoo, this is about the disposition of the elephants once we've decided that the elephants are leaving, correct?
So not following the recommendation that was provided is what jeopardizes our AZA accreditation, and they've provided a recommendation.
Did they consider the sanctuary, the AZA sanctuary?
They consider all the particular locations that hold Asian elephants that would be suitable, and their recommendation was the Tulsa Zoo.
Okay, do we have access to their, if we wanted to understand why they chose the zoo over the sanctuary, do we have access to that information?
The recommendations are based on the appropriate groupings and the appropriate socialization of the species. And based on the information that they have, which is the entire population of Asian elephants in AZA accredited zoos, their recommendation was that Billy and Tina would be suitable and have the best fit at the Tulsa Zoo.
I'm sorry, I missed that. Say that again.
So they look at the entire AZA Asian elephant population, and they look at these two individual elephants. And based on a variety of factors, socialization, care and well-being, they make the recommendation on the best location for these two elephants, and that was the Tulsa Zoo.
Okay, but we don't get any we don't get any insight as to, they don't prepare a report for us or tell us, they just give us that answer?
Right.
Are we in a position to ask for that, for the backup information?
Yeah, is this, I just want to.
Well, it's budget related in that we're spending $88,000 and we have an option to spend $0. So that's one job to spend. And so.
But it's not.
It's a policy decision that needs to be held in the Art, Parks, and Library Committee. That's where we should be discussing how this moves forward. It is a budget implication, but it's $88,000 that we're talking about.
And it's not $88,000, it's only $44,000 because we're sharing the cost with Tulsa, and the money that we're using is one-time funds. It's not ongoing that could support a position in the department.
Thank you. So $44,000, I do think it's a conversation. If we want to go in detail, let's do it in our Parks and Library, and I welcome you to that committee. I know, I'm sure Councilwoman Morales does, but this is less focused on the budget and more on the policy decision. And I don't think that this is the appropriate place to discuss Billy
I'm happy
Tina
to have
like
that conversation and to have that conversation had in committee. My concern initially was the timing, which is why I was bringing it into budget, because I was hearing that this was imminent and that we wouldn't have a chance to discuss this before it was a foregone conclusion and done. So if I'm hearing from the director that that's not imminent and that there's time for us to have that discussion in policy committee, then I'm more than happy to postpone all of this until the appropriate policy decision. The reason why I was making a point to bring it up here in budget and use the one little bit of leverage that we have to discuss it is because I didn't want it to happen in an opaque way without having a discussion in some public forum. But as long as I've been assured that there's time enough for us to hear it in committee, then I'm comfortable. So I appreciate that.
I'm not assuring you that the move for the elephants is waiting for some other consideration. It's the decision that has been made.
But you said it's not imminent, that it's weeks or months, not days.
Well, let me clarify. We plan to move the elephants, and we're going to move the elephants when the time is ready, and we're not necessarily waiting for anything other than for them to be ready to move. So I don't want to misrepresent what I'm saying.
Because you don't need permission from us, because you're granted that authority under the charter.
Correct.
Well, I want to make sure that we have this discussion before it's a foregone conclusion. And I'm hoping that that means we can hear it quickly in committee, and that we'll be able to actually have this discussion. Because what I don't want to happen is, basically to happen next week before we've actually had a chance to vet this further. Otherwise, I agree with you, we shouldn't be having this a long conversation in budget. It's a small amount of money, but I also don't want it to happen. I'm already concerned, as you know, because I raised this a year ago about the report for the elephants that died, and I didn't get the report back. I was told to wait, and I waited on that, thinking that we would have the discussion on that. That didn't come, and then all of a sudden the elephants were moved before that report even came out or the decision was made. So that's why I have concerns about the timing, because I feel like I haven't been given the information in a timely way. So I am worried that this is going to happen sort of around, we're going to see an end run. So as long as we can get this conversation to happen in the appropriate policy committee, and we're not going to be rushing this through prior to that, then we can move on from there and we can note and file this.